Dear Rizal, it's been ages since you left our beloved motherland, a land that you heartily given as sacrifice for the freedom of every Filipinos. Nevertheless, ever since you died, everything's got mixed up. At 1898, Filipino creates Philippine flag as an identity that our nation was also one country that belongs to us, not by conqueror. An organization that Bonifacio Institute named KKK aims to protest against Spanish government colonization for independence through starting a revolution. It was later called unsuccessful after majority of the local population sided up with the well-armed colonial government and to fight with the Spanish as foot soldiers to put down the revolts. In the exact year, Emilio Aguinaldo also assembled the Malolos Congress in Bulacan, which then declares independence in Kawit, Cavite on the exact day of June 12, 1898. In 1899, the last defense of the Tirad Pass, Treaty of Paris ends. Spanish-American War cedes Philippines to U.S. after payment to Spain by U.S. of $20 million. In 1898 to 1913, Philippine against American War happened, where in the midst of 1902, insurrection ends where tough improved economic conditions, settles disputes over church ownership of lands, established the Pensionado program, allowing Filipinos to study in the U.S., which helped modernize and westernize the country. In 1916 to 1934, U.S. Congress passes the Jones Law, establishing elected Filipino legislature with House and Senate. And that's when transition to independence begins. On 1935, Filipinos established the Commonwealth of the Philippines, where Filipino people approved Constitution creating the Philippine Commonwealth with Manuel Quezon Y Molina as president. Years after, in 1941 to 1945, Second World War happened, where Japanese invades the Philippines and defeats General Douglas MacArthur at Bataan and Corregidor, Quezon, establishes government in exile in the U.S., which led Quezon dies in exile. After this happened in 1946, the U.S. gave the Philippines independence and Manuel Rojas y Acuña is elected as the first president of the new republic. This has continued until today, not until it breaks the democratic rule when EDSA revolution happens in 1986, due to having a sustained campaign of civil resistance against regime violence and electoral fraud, and also to end the dictatorship of President Ferdinand E. Marcos and begin a new era marked by true freedom and democracy. After 2 decades of Marcos' administration, the space for democracy was ultimately restored thanks to EDSA revolution. However, it seems that history keeps repeating itself. Just like in the past, media writers, reporters, and publishers are now threatened in revealing the truth and injustices in politics. They are being attacked, shot, and killed with anonymous people due to their media works. Also, the current government of the Philippines is abhorrent and full of corruption. Right-wing news regarding various crimes like war on drugs, rising market prices, the inflation, and many other issues. We may be free from conquerors, but we became prisoners of this routine system of the Philippine government. The endless promise of development that until now, it seems that we have not achieved. Government officials who are considered smart and educated but lacks in patriotism and nationalism. Youth become more and more pathetic and unpatriotic, that they become more and more aware of those social media gossips than the issues we, our country, currently facing. The numbers of youth or teenagers engaged in early pregnancy are increasing. Instead of schooling, youth nowadays are wasting their time doing useless things out of curiosity, fun, and later suffer in the future. This makes most of the generation being ignorant, unemployed, which results into poverty, and poverty into engagement in illegal doings that flames issues in our society, which leads to decline in economic development of our country. More than that, we're so sorry for losing your life in the midst of battling for our future freedom. However, we just wanted you to know that you became the most respectable role model and a hero we Filipinos are looking up to. We salute your braveness and dedication. There's no words that can define and describe how mettle and prowess you are. That truly arose patriotic feelings of our fellow Filipinos that caused them to rebel and prove that they are not a nation of indolent or ignorant people. You revived the thoughts of every Filipinos who fought for themselves, for their families, and the Philippines itself. In addition, we are happy to say that all your sacrifices paid off in restoring our motherland's freedom, which the conqueror had taken from us. From being free from Spanish rule to having freedom of expressions and speeches, up into allowing Filipino priests to regulate the Catholic Church in the Philippines. And most importantly, in enjoying freedom in terms of education and treating Filipinos fairly.